Have you ever been having trouble with your playstyle and you don't know what you should be, whether it's being aggressive or being even defensive or slash passive? Well, in this video, that's exactly what we will be talking about, is what playstyle works for you. Are you an aggressive player or are you more of a defensive player? Well, I mean, there are many ways to look at it, but in many ways, it's also very simple to realistically find your playstyle. Now, like it is, these are just guidelines. Most of these playstyles may not work. Most guidelines may not work for you, and you've got to figure it out on your own. But in many ways, also, some of these guidelines could be very useful to realistically making you a overall better player. So, with that being said, I'd say let's go ahead and roll the intro, shall we? Hello everybody, FAI here, or I here, and welcome back to another Akai Talks video, or, well, actually FAI Tips and Tricks video. But yeah, with that being said, today's video we will be talking about the playstyles in Apex Legends. Now, I'll only be talking about a few playstyles because there really are only a few playstyles in Apex Legends that you probably will need to know. One of them, of course, being aggressive and a W tier, and the other being a ranger slash sniper, or a little bit more passive. And these are really the two main styles that I've seen in Apex Legends. There's not really many different styles like in Fortnite. There's so many different styles. There's the low ground warrior, there's the high ground warrior, there's the aggressive W tier, there's the box fighter or W tier slash box fighter, and then there's of course the the ranger slash sniper slash passive like player. And I mean, all of these playstyles are just like, I tried to condense them all into one playstyle video, and I think I might have to expand a little more onto the video so that you all can get a better idea of how to basically get a better understanding of each one of these videos and stuff, and each one of these little these little you know, these little so-called things to you know, to really get better at it. But you know, at the end of the day, there are just so many other different playstyles in Apex, in Fortnite, that you really can't go over all of them in one video. Luckily, in this one, we can go over all of them, at least over in a quick overall layout on all of them. So, you know, because there are only really two playstyles, and it's either your aggressive slash a W tier, or your passive slash a ranger or sniper or loot hunter. There's really no other playstyles like it after that. So let's go ahead and go over the basic playstyles, and we'll talk about them. And if you want a more in-detailed video, I will try to make a more in-detailed video going forward. But at the moment, let's go ahead and talk about these different little playstyles that you can do to make yourself a overall better Fortnite player, or just an overall better player, or Apex Legends player. So let's first of all go over the style that I'm usually playing, which is aggressive. And aggressive slash W tier type style. Now, of course, the aggressive slash W tier type style doesn't mean that you take 50-50s all the time. This is a mistake that many players make when they are playing Apex Legends or any FPS games. Is when they think of, oh, I'm going to be aggressive, I'm going to be a W tier. You know, they think of like, oh, I should be, you know, trying to take on as many fights as I can, taking out as many people as I can. And yes, that's partly being a W tier. But, you know, being an aggressive W tier also means that you're calculated in your approach. in your attack. I mean, you are taking time to realistically, approach things with somewhat of a, in mind, overall in mind attack pattern, or just like in mind, considering and being a little more aggressive or not aggressive. I mean, that's pretty much the style that you're looking at. Aggressive players in FPS games, especially in Apex Legends, doesn't mean that you are going out of your way to try and hunt as many players as you can if you have low health. I mean, again, don't be that person that goes out trying to 50-50 every fight that they can, because again, you're not going to get very far with a 50-50 fight every time. You've got to be calculated in your approach, and realize when you are attacking, or even just in general, focusing your vision on a attack, you get the first shot off. If you get the first shot off, then go ahead and push in a little more if they are on whites or, on flesh. In other words, they don't have armor. But if they do have armor, then be a little more calculated on your approach. Determine, is your time to push in. Is it your time to push in? Should you push in on this person just because they are, just because they got hit once or twice, maybe? Or do you decide that it's better for me to let it go? I mean, this is a mistake that many players make in Apex Legends, and even in most FPS games, is too many players are too hungry to get an aggression play off, a W key off, if you will. Too many players are wanting to get as many eliminations as they can, because they think that if I get as many eliminations as I do, then I'm going to be looking like the greatest player on my team, and that's not the case. You've got to be calculated in your approach with anything in Apex Legends, Fortnite, Quake, Valorant, and this is something that even I've had to learn over time. But like I said before, aggressive players doesn't mean, being aggressive and being W tier doesn't mean that you're going to hunt down every single player you can. You've got to realize and kind of think, okay, I got the first shot off. Do I get the next shot off? Do I let this person go? Do I let this person stew a little and realistically, try to get some, get their healing off? Because again, I know a lot of players, especially low tiers, we're always scared that we're going to have this person heal, and because this person heals, now they're going to be hard to play against. And that's not the case. At the end of the day, you as an aggressive player have to realize that if this person heals, they're using their healing, they're using their meds, they're using their kit, they're using their bullets, and they're going to get antsy. You have to realize that even as an aggressive player, a player who is under pressure is going to get antsy. They're going to run right into your trap. They're going to fall right for your, whatever it is, your trap, your trap, your web, and that's exactly what you want them to do, is fall for your web. Don't let a player, don't just get antsy and think that just because someone is low, just because I hit them, just because I damaged them, means that I can go in and try to rush them for a elimination. I mean, this is a mistake that many aggressive players make, and even some passive players make this mistake because they think just because they hit someone once doesn't mean that they're not going to make you fall for their trap. AKA you running into their friends, you rushing in because you want to get the elimination and their friends are right there, or just because they healed up, you rush in and all of a sudden now they have you in their corner. This is something that you've always got to think about, even as an aggressive player. So that's pretty much how the aggressive player is. I mean, being an aggressive player at W tier doesn't mean that you should rush into every fight. learn to know when to let go of a fight and just say, okay, I'm going to let this person stew, just even though I hit them once, even though I may have hit them twice, I'm going to let them stew, because you never know. They may have healing, they may heal up, and if they heal up or they try to start firing back at you, guess what? They're wasting bullets, and because they're wasting bullets, they're going to become weaker over time. And this also means that you're going to be able to catch them on a reload, catch them in a bad situation, and now all of a sudden the situation that would have turned you salty is now going to turn them salty. But that's an aggressive player. So let's go ahead and talk about the passive or more ranger-based player. Now, a passive, more ranger-based player is still going to be playing fairly in a parameter that works for them. Most of them are going to be out of sight, farther away, to the point where they can't be seen very often. And because they're more to the point of they can't be seen very often, this means they take less risk on their health. This means that they take less risk on their their med kits, their supplies. But this doesn't mean that they also will be aggressive or, try to close the distance when the time is right. You've always got to learn to close the distance when the time is right. Now, like I said, this doesn't mean that you're going to be aggressive all the time. You should play into your parameters. If you're going to play sniper, ranger, or whatever, then, choose your situations. Determine your situation and, determine when is the right time for you to go in for an attack. I mean, too many players, like I said, go in for 50-50s. This is why everyone in a FPS game is a dodo bird. Now, we'll talk about this later on in a future video, in a future episode. But, the reason most players are dodo birds is because they take too many 50-50s. They go into an FPS game thinking they have to get as many eliminations as possible. That's not the case. You've gotta, know when is the right time to take an elimination. When's the right time to go after somebody or, take on a fight. Because, again, you don't want to take on a fight where it's not going to work in your favor. I mean, that's just something that you don't want to do, overall. And because you don't want to do that overall, it's just better for you to know when to let go of the fight. But again, that's another video for another time. Anyway, passive players, they're usually out of sight. They're usually never in too much danger when it comes to their own health. But they have to make sure that they are on the same page as their team. So, what do I mean by that? Well, when it comes to being a ranger or a sniper, or just a passive player in general, you've got to know when is the right time for me to rush in? When is the right time for me to tell my teammates to roll up to this person? I mean, again, remember that you're the vision of the team. You will see things before your teammates may ever see them entirely. And because you will see them before your teammates will ever see them, you can tell them, is it the right time to rush in or not? But this means that you also have to be the voice that tells people or tells your team to get on the same page as you. Because, again, you're going to be the first shot, you're going to be the first response, and you're going to be the first person that can see pretty much everything. If you're not, seeing everything and you don't try to voice out what you need to see or what you do see from your teammates, then obviously you're going to be in a liability situation to make it to where your team gets salty on you for any reason. Now, remember, people don't really use snipers very often. People don't realize that snipers are the person that can really help an aggressive player roll into being more aggressive or even not being aggressive. But, often we don't have anyone who plays sniper very often, and the people that we do have playing sniper usually are not a very, a very overall smart player. They're usually not the best at, realizing the situations and even just, realistically, playing in a way that would work for them, But, again, that's just something that does happen, and I would highly suggest that you learn your situations. Now, again, we'll talk about this in another video about how to learn your situations, how to play to the best of your advantage, and how to not be a dodo bird in the game. Now, again, like I said before, many players are dodo birds. You have many people who are just dodo birds in the game, and because they are just dodo birds in the game, obviously they are not doing the best they can. They're not going to be playing in the best of their advantage. Now you may think, oh, but that doesn't mean that they're bad players. I mean, yes, they are bad players. First and foremost, don't think that they're not bad players. If they're playing like a dodo bird and survival is their first situation, or taking 50-50s are their first situation, then they are absolutely a dodo bird to a degree. Now, I'm not saying that everyone who plays as a survivalist or everyone who's trying to just survive is a bad player. Not everyone who's just trying to survive is a bad player. Sometimes, even if they don't communicate, you have to kind of think, okay, if they're with the team and they've been standing with the team the whole time, they may not be such a dang dodo bird, or they may not be very, very bad, because again, they're at least making it to where you are realistically, they're making it to where you are at least realistically being able to, survive and win together. They have it at least some game sense to winning the game, and they want to win the game. But if someone runs away when you are entering a fight just because they don't have a weapon or anything like that, they're probably a dodo bird. I mean, let's face it. At the end of the day, you're probably a dodo bird if you were running away because you don't have a gun or a weapon to use when your team is entering a fight. I mean, even if your team is entering a fight and you don't have a weapon to use, you should still try to be bantha fodder for them. I mean, at least give them the bantha fodder to maybe, hopefully take out this person that they're going against. Now, like I said, again, this may mean that you're not going to be, successful all the time. You've gotta, realistically have a good understanding of the game, and realistically be able to, get into a situation where it works beneficially for not only you but also for your team. And because of that, it means that you have to, realistically, know what they're up to, what their motives are. You can't, and there are times where you will see, like, you probably should be better off chasing this person than you should be trying to, not chase this person, which is true. I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes it's better to chase this person than not to chase this person. I mean, you have to realistically have a good understanding and, just understand that the game is going to be the way it is. I mean, sometimes, you have things that just don't work out in your favor. Other times you do. But, one of the main things is just learn that in the situation of things, you've got to somewhat be able to realistically just have a good understanding of what's going on. And, take that as a, as a way of progressing yourself and being better at understanding the game. I mean, again, this is just all in time learning the game, learning what you need to do. And, by learning what you need to do and learning what's going on, you can overall get better in time and get better, So, these are the two different play styles. We talked a little bit about some of the other things that are going to be happening in the future, like future videos. But, again, just realize that don't be the dodo bird at the end of the day, because being the dodo bird is just going to get you in nowhere in general. But with that being said, this is my tips and tricks on the playstyles for Apex Legends, whether it's being aggressive or being a ranger / passive or being kind of an aggressive / W keyer. Hopefully these tips have helped you with understanding the playstyles a little bit better. Because, again, as I've said at the beginning of this video, when I was explaining W keyer / aggressive player playstyle, the W keyer / aggressive playstyle doesn't mean that you are going to be always looking for eliminations, always going in for, the next elimination. I mean, it's not about that. Being the W keyer / aggressive player means that you're calculating on your situations. You're calculating on your decisions. You have some idea of what you need to do. And because you have some idea of what you need to do, you can understandably make it to where it's better on not only your end, but also better for the team in general. So, you know, with that having been said, you've got to know when is the right time to, you know, to of course do these things. When is the right time to go in for eliminations? When is the right time to go in for, you know, for a push? I mean, because there's not always going to be a right time to go in for a push, and there's not always going to be a right time to go in for for eliminations. I mean, it's kind of having to calculate what you're doing, what's going on, and once you know what's going on, you can at least get a better understanding of how to play the game, and maybe even do better without being a dodo bird on it entirely. But with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching this video. You probably at some point saw me plug in a subscribe button, a like button, and a follow button. I hope you do follow the channel, subscribe to my Twitch, follow my Twitch, subscribe to my YouTube, and like the video. If we can get this video to about 10 likes, I'd be gratefully appreciate it, as I think we could probably make it up to 10 likes if we really push for it. But with that having been said, you know, thank you everybody for joining me today on the show. Like I said, you probably saw a plug-in somewhere on the video with me saying subscribe to YouTube. You probably saw the numbers on YouTube, and I would love to get to 100 subscribers on my YouTube at some point. I'd love to get to 600 followers at some point on my Twitch channel. And yeah, with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today. You probably saw that plug somewhere in the video. And yeah, thank you for joining me today. Hope to see you live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/FA_EYE. And yeah, with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching this video. And until the next one, everybody, wherever you live in, and until the next one, everybody, this is FAI signing out and saying farewell, everyone.